In the face of life's trials, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, as though the weight of the world is pressing on your shoulders. Problems, be they financial struggles, relationship challenges, or battles with your own self-worth, can seem insurmountable. Yet there exists a power far greater than any problem you will ever encounter. That power is your God, the infinite source of strength, wisdom, and love. Today I want to remind you of this simple truth: your problems may look big, but they are nothing compared to the boundless power of God. When you truly grasp this, when you believe it, and when you act upon it, mountains move and obstacles crumble. Together, let us journey into this profound realization and awaken the divine potential already within you. Imagine for a moment standing in the middle of a vast desert. The scorching sun beats down relentlessly. You are thirsty, lost, and surrounded by endless dunes of sand. The longer you stand there, the more hopeless it feels. Now, let me ask you, what would happen if in that very moment you remembered that just beneath the surface there was an underground river of pure, life-giving water waiting for you? Would you keep wandering in despair, or would you dig? This is where many of us are in life. We stand in our personal deserts, drowning in financial debt, consumed by heartbreak, or paralyzed by fear. We convince ourselves there is no way out. But I'm here to tell you something extraordinary: you are not alone, and the answer you seek is already here. What if I told you that every problem you face is an illusion of separation, a trick of the mind that makes you forget the limitless power of God? What if the very thing that feels impossible to overcome is, in fact, the stage on which your breakthrough will take place? Stay with me, because by the time we're done, you will see that your problems, no matter how overwhelming, are but shadows in the presence of divine light. And when you align with this truth, nothing can stand against you. The infinite power of God is a truth so profound that, when fully grasped, it transforms lives. To recognize this power is not merely to acknowledge it with words, but to allow its reality to permeate your being, to become the foundation of your faith, and to shape your actions. It is the difference between seeing God as an abstract idea and experiencing Him as the all-encompassing force that governs the universe in your life. Pause for a moment and reflect on the grandeur of creation. The sun rises each day without fail, illuminating the world and sustaining life. The stars, billions of them, are perfectly positioned in the vast expanse of the universe, each one a testament to an order far beyond human comprehension. The same force that commands the galaxies and orchestrates the symphony of nature is the very essence of the God we serve. And yet, as vast and incomprehensible as this power is, it is also deeply personal, intimately aware of every thought, every struggle, and every longing within you. To recognize God's infinite power, you must first confront your limitations. How often do we attempt to navigate life with our finite understanding, leaning on our own strength to solve problems that overwhelm us? When faced with challenges, we default to worry, anxiety, and doubt, as though the weight of the world rests solely on our shoulders. But consider this: the very fact that you feel burdened is evidence that you are attempting to carry what was never yours to bear. God's power is not distant or inaccessible, it is here, now waiting for you to release your grip and trust in Him completely. This recognition begins with a shift in perspective. Problems appear insurmountable when viewed through the lens of human limitation. A mountain may seem unmovable when you stand at its base, but from the perspective of the heavens, it is but a speck. Your trials, no matter how colossal they seem, are minuscule in the presence of God. He is not bound by the constraints of time, space, or circumstance. What seems impossible to you is already accomplished in His divine will. To recognize this is to unlock the door to miracles. Faith is the bridge to this recognition. Faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is a deep, unshakable knowing that God's power is real and at work in your life. It is the conviction that even when you cannot see the outcome, God is already orchestrating the solution. When you recognize His power, fear loses its grip, anxiety dissipates, and a quiet confidence takes its place. You begin to move, speak, and live as though the problem has already been resolved, not because of your ability, but because of His. One of the most profound ways to recognize God's power is through gratitude. Gratitude acknowledges what God has already done and opens your heart to receive more of His blessings. When you look back on your life, you will find countless instances where His power carried you through. Perhaps it was a financial breakthrough when you were at your lowest, a relationship mended against all odds, or an inner strength that rose within you during a season of despair. These are not coincidences, they are reminders of His faithfulness and omnipotence. To truly recognize God's power, you must also silence the voices of doubt. Doubt is the enemy of faith, a whisper that says, "What if God doesn't come through?" But ask yourself this: has He ever failed you? The very breath in your lungs is evidence of His sustaining power. The same God who breathed life into you, who formed you with purpose and precision, is the God who promises to be your refuge and strength. He does not abandon, He does not falter. His power is unchanging, eternal, and unmatched. When you recognize God's power, you also begin to see your problems differently. They are no longer obstacles, but opportunities for God to demonstrate His greatness. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who calmed the storm with a word, and who brought the dead to life is the God who is at work in your situation. Do you believe that? Truly believe it? Because when you do, fear gives way to faith and despair turns into hope. Prayer is a powerful tool in recognizing God's power. Prayer is not just asking for what you need, it is a declaration of who God is. When you pray, you align yourself with His infinite power. You are not informing God of your problems, He already knows. Prayer is your way of saying, "I trust you, I believe in your power. I surrender my worries to you." It is in this surrender that His power becomes evident, not because it wasn't there before, but because you have made room for it to manifest in your life. Recognizing God's power requires action. Faith without works is dead, and belief without action is incomplete. When you truly believe in God's infinite power, you will act in alignment with that belief. You will step forward even when the path is unclear, trusting that He will guide your steps. You will speak words of faith, even when doubt tries to creep in. You will approach your problems not with a spirit of fear, but with the confidence that the God of the universe is fighting on your behalf. Remember this: God's power is not a distant concept or an abstract idea. It is real, present, and available to you. It is bigger than any problem, stronger than any storm, and more enduring than any trial. To recognize it is to live in freedom, knowing that you are not alone, and that victory is already yours. Open your heart to this truth, and you will see His power at work in ways that exceed your wildest expectations. Your perspective shapes your reality. The way you view your problems determines how you respond to them, and how you respond ultimately defines the outcome. When life confronts you with challenges, it is natural to feel trapped, as though there is no way out. But what if the very key to overcoming those challenges lies not in changing the situation, but in shifting the way you see it? Perspective is the lens through which you interpret the world. And when you align that lens with the truth of God's infinite power, what once seemed impossible becomes entirely achievable. Imagine standing before a towering mountain. From where you stand, it seems immovable, its vastness overwhelming. But what happens when you change your perspective? When you ascend to the skies and look down, that same mountain becomes a small part of a much larger landscape. It loses its power to intimidate you because you see it differently. The mountain has not changed, but your perspective has transformed, and with it, your approach to climbing it. The problems you face in life are no different. They loom large when viewed through the lens of fear and limitation. They seem insurmountable when your focus is on your lack of resources, strength, or answers. But the moment you shift your perspective, something miraculous happens. You begin to see your challenges not as barriers, but as stepping stones. You realize that every difficulty carries within it the seed of growth, the potential for transformation, and an opportunity for God's power to be revealed. To shift your perspective, you must first recognize the limitations of your current view. Many of us are conditioned to see life through the narrow lens of human logic and past experiences. We measure possibilities by what we have seen or done before, and in doing so, we place unnecessary limits on what can happen. But God's perspective is limitless. He sees the end from the beginning. He knows the purpose behind every trial and the victory that lies beyond it. When you choose to see through His eyes, you begin to perceive the fullness of possibilities, even in the face of adversity. Faith is the catalyst for this shift. Faith allows you to see beyond the visible, to trust in what you cannot yet grasp with your senses. It invites you to step outside the confines of fear and embrace a perspective rooted in hope and assurance. When you face a problem, faith whispers, "This is not the end, this is the beginning of something greater." It reminds you that what looks like a setback is often a setup for a breakthrough. Faith shifts your focus from the problem to the God who is infinitely greater than it. One of the most powerful shifts in perspective you can make is to see your problems as opportunities. This is not about denying the difficulty or pretending everything is fine. It is about recognizing that every challenge has the potential to teach, refine, and elevate you. When you view your struggles as opportunities for growth, you move from a place of victimhood to a place of empowerment. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger?" Gratitude is another key to shifting your perspective. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, your entire outlook changes. Gratitude opens your eyes to the blessings that are already present, even in the midst of hardship. It shifts your attention from the size of the problem to the abundance of God's provision. When you cultivate a spirit of gratitude, you begin to see how God has been faithful in the past, and this strengthens your faith for the present and future. Prayer is also a powerful tool for perspective transformation. In prayer, you bring your concerns before God, but more importantly, you align your heart and mind with His truth. Prayer is not about informing God of your struggles, He already knows them. It is about recalibrating your perspective to see your struggles through the lens of His promises. In prayer, you are reminded that you are not alone, that you have access to divine wisdom, and that nothing is too hard for Him. Another way to shift your perspective is to surround yourself with the right influences. The voices you listen to and the company you keep have a profound impact on how you see your life. Choose to fill your mind with words of encouragement, faith, and truth. Seek out those who uplift and inspire you rather than those who reinforce negativity. When you surround yourself with people and resources that align with God's perspective, your own perspective begins to change. Action is the final piece of the puzzle. Shifting your perspective is not a passive process, it requires intentionality. Take steps to align your thoughts, words, and actions with the new perspective you are cultivating. If you believe that God is greater than your problem, act as though that is true. Speak words of faith, even when doubt tries to creep in. Move forward with confidence, even when the path is unclear. Your actions will reinforce your new perspective and help solidify it as your default way of thinking. Shifting your perspective is about choosing to see your life through the lens of God's truth, rather than the limitations of your circumstances. It is about trusting that even in the darkest moments there is light. Even in the most difficult trials there is purpose. And even when the odds seem stacked against you, there is victory. When you make this shift, your problems lose their power to paralyze you. Instead, they become opportunities for growth, transformation, and the revelation of God's glory in your life. Faith is the unshakable foundation upon which your life must stand. When storms arise and the winds of doubt and fear threaten to overwhelm you, faith becomes your anchor, holding you steady and preventing you from being swept away by the currents of despair. It is not a passive belief, but an active trust in the promises and power of God. A trust that transforms the way you face challenges and navigate the uncertainties of life. To anchor yourself in faith means to root your heart and mind in the certainty that God is who He says He is and will do what He has promised. Faith is not wishful thinking, it is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. It requires you to look beyond the visible circumstances and hold firmly to the unseen truths of God's power, love, and sovereignty. When you are anchored in faith, your confidence does not come from what you see or feel, but from the unchanging nature of God. The first step to anchoring yourself in faith is recognizing the futility of relying solely on your own strength. Life is filled with situations that are beyond your control, problems that defy human solutions, and challenges that seem insurmountable. When you try to face these with your limited resources, you inevitably feel overwhelmed. Faith shifts your reliance from your own abilities to God's infinite power. It is the acknowledgement that while you are limited, He is limitless. While you may be weak, He is strong. And while you may not see the way forward, He has already paved the path. Faith requires surrender, a letting go of the need to understand every detail or control every outcome. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of profound strength. It is the realization that your greatest victories will not come from striving, but from trusting. When you anchor yourself in faith, you release the burden of worry and place your trust in God's hands. This act of surrender frees you from the paralyzing grip of fear and allows you to move forward with peace and assurance. Faith also demands persistence. It is easy to believe when everything is going well, but true faith is tested in the valleys, in the moments when answers seem delayed, and when the weight of waiting threatens to crush your spirit. Anchoring yourself in faith means refusing to waver, even when the evidence around you suggests otherwise. It is standing firm in the belief that God's timing is perfect and that His plans for you are good, even when you cannot yet see the outcome. This kind of faith is not blind optimism, it is a deep-rooted conviction that God is faithful and will fulfill His promises. One of the greatest tools for anchoring yourself in faith is remembering God's faithfulness in the past. Reflect on the times when He came through for you, the moments when what seemed impossible became reality because of His intervention. These memories are like anchors themselves, grounding you in the truth that if He was faithful then, He will be faithful now. By looking back on His track record, you reinforce your confidence in His unchanging nature. Faith grows stronger when you speak and declare it. Words have power, and when you choose to speak words of faith rather than fear, you align your heart and mind with God's promises. Even in the face of doubt, declare His truth. I am not alone, God is with me. This situation is not too big for Him. He is my provider, my protector, and my guide. These affirmations are not just for comfort, they are acts of spiritual warfare, pushing back against the voices of doubt and fear that seek to shake your faith. Prayer is another anchor for your faith. Through prayer, you connect directly with the source of your strength, laying your concerns at His feet and inviting His presence into your situation. Prayer is not merely a request for help, it is an act of trust, a declaration that you believe He hears you and will respond. In prayer, you exchange your anxiety for His peace, your uncertainty for His assurance. Every time you pray, you tighten your grip on the anchor of faith, reminding yourself that you are not alone in your struggles. Surrounding yourself with people of faith is equally important. When you are anchored in faith, it helps to be in the company of those who share your belief and can encourage you when your strength wavers. Their testimonies of God's goodness can inspire you to keep believing, and their prayers can uplift you in times of need. Faith is contagious, and being part of a community that trusts in God reinforces your own faith and provides support when you feel weak. Faith also calls you to act. Being anchored in faith does not mean passively waiting for everything to change. It means stepping out, even when the path is unclear, because you trust that God will guide your steps. Faith without action is incomplete. When you move forward in faith, even with uncertainty, you demonstrate your trust in God's provision and open the door for Him to work through your obedience. Anchoring yourself in faith is about perspective. It is choosing to see your problems through the lens of God's power rather than your limitations. It is recognizing that no matter how fierce the storm, the one who calms the seas is with you. When you anchor yourself in faith, you are unshakable. The winds may blow and the waves may rise, but you remain steadfast, knowing that your foundation is secure. God is greater than any challenge you face. And when you anchor yourself in faith, you stand rooted in that unassailable truth. Words have an undeniable power. They shape your thoughts, influence your actions, and set the tone for your life. What you speak over your problems has the ability to magnify them or diminish them, to bring life into your situation or to drain it away. When you speak life over your problems, you align yourself with the power of faith and the promises of God. You declare that your challenges are not the end of your story, but merely stepping stones to greater triumphs. The first step in speaking life over your problems is to recognize the authority of your words. Every word you utter carries weight, influencing your emotions, thoughts, and circumstances. When you speak words of defeat, doubt, or fear, you give power to those forces. But when you speak words of faith, hope, and victory, you invite solutions, strength, and divine intervention into your situation. Your words are seeds, and what you plant with your tongue will grow into the reality you experience. Speaking life is not merely a positive attitude, it is an act of faith that calls forth God's promises into existence. To speak life, you must first guard your tongue against negativity. It is easy to complain about your circumstances, to voice frustration or despair, especially when your problems seem overwhelming. However, every time you dwell on the problem instead of the solution, you reinforce its grip on your life. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," declare, "All things are possible with God," instead of lamenting, "I am not enough," proclaim, "Through Him I am more than enough." This shift in language creates a shift in perspective and allows you to see opportunities where there once seemed to be only obstacles. Speaking life requires you to align your words with truth, not appearances. Faith does not deny the existence of problems, it denies them the final say. When you speak life over your problems, you acknowledge their presence but declare their defeat. You say, "This sickness may be in my body, but by His stripes I am healed," you affirm. "This financial challenge may be real, but my God shall supply all my needs according to His riches in glory." These declarations are not just wishful thinking, they are rooted in the unchanging promises of God, who is faithful to perform what He has spoken. Another key to speaking life is to focus on gratitude. Gratitude shifts your attention from what is lacking to what is abundant. It is a powerful weapon against despair because it reminds you of God's past faithfulness and builds your confidence in His ability to act again. Even in the midst of your problems, there is always something to be thankful for. By thanking God in advance for the breakthrough, you demonstrate your trust in His power and His timing. Gratitude turns your focus away from the problem and toward the solution, enabling you to speak life with authenticity and conviction. Surround yourself with an environment that reinforces the language of life. Spend time with people who speak encouragement and faith, and avoid those who constantly dwell on negativity and doubt. Listen to uplifting messages, read scriptures that remind you of God's power, and immerse yourself in an atmosphere that fosters belief. Your words are influenced by what you hear and absorb, so be intentional about creating a space where speaking life becomes second nature. Speaking life is not just about your own circumstances, it is about being a vessel of life for others. When you encourage someone else, when you speak hope into their challenges and affirm their worth, you not only lift their spirits but also strengthen your own faith. Your words have the power to build bridges of hope, not only for yourself but for those around you. By choosing to speak life in every situation, you become a beacon of light, reminding others of the power of faith and the greatness of God. Speaking life over your problems is a declaration of victory, a proclamation that God is bigger than any challenge you face. It is a reminder that your words, when spoken in faith, are a powerful tool for transformation. No matter how daunting your problems may seem, they are no match for the God who walks with you. Speak life boldly and watch as your words shape your reality, bringing hope, healing, and restoration into every area of your life. Releasing control is one of the most transformative yet challenging steps on the journey of faith. It requires surrendering the illusion that we are the masters of our destiny and instead trusting in a higher power that sees the entirety of our lives with perfect clarity. Control is a defense mechanism we often cling to, believing that by holding tightly to outcomes, we can protect ourselves from uncertainty and pain. But in truth, this need for control often creates more anxiety, frustration, and resistance than it resolves. Releasing control is not about giving up, it's about letting go of the struggle and trusting that God's plans are greater than our own. When you release control, you shift from striving to aligning. Striving implies a relentless effort to force things into place, to make life conform to your own limited understanding of what is best. Aligning, however, is a state of flow where your actions, thoughts, and intentions harmonize with the divine will. It's the realization that you don't need to have all the answers or foresee every step, because you are being guided by one who knows the end from the beginning. Letting go of control is an act of profound faith, affirming that God's wisdom and timing are perfect, even when they don't align with your immediate desires. Letting go of control also means releasing the need to understand every detail. As humans, we crave clarity and explanations. We want to know why certain things happen, why prayers are delayed, or why doors remain closed. But God's ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. When you release control, you embrace the mystery of divine timing and trust that even unanswered questions serve a purpose in the grand design of your life. It is in this space of surrender that you find peace, knowing that you don't need to have all the answers because you are held by the one who does. Releasing control allows you to rest. Control is exhausting, it drains your energy and robs you of joy. When you try to manage every detail of your life, you carry burdens you were never meant to bear. But when you release control, you place those burdens into God's hands, where they belong. This doesn't mean you stop taking action or being responsible, it means you stop carrying the weight of outcomes. You do what you can with what you have and trust God to handle the rest. This shift from striving to resting is liberating, freeing you to focus on the present moment rather than worrying about the future. Letting go also makes space for grace. When you hold tightly to your own plans, you can inadvertently block the blessings and opportunities God has prepared for you. Releasing control opens the door for His grace to flow freely into your life. It allows Him to work in ways that exceed your expectations, often bringing outcomes you could never have orchestrated on your own. Grace fills the gaps where your strength ends, reminding you that you are not alone in your journey. Releasing control is not a one-time decision, it is a daily practice. It requires vigilance to recognize when fear and doubt creep in, tempting you to take matters into your own hands. It requires humility to admit that your own efforts are limited and that you need divine intervention. And it requires trust, a deep, unwavering trust that God is for you, not against you, and that He is working all things together for your good. Each day as you release control, you grow in faith, becoming more attuned to His guidance and more resilient in the face of challenges. One of the most beautiful aspects of releasing control is the freedom it brings. When you let go of the need to manipulate outcomes, you free yourself from the chains of worry and anxiety. You become less attached to specific results and more open to the unfolding of God's plan. This freedom allows you to live with greater joy and gratitude, knowing that you are not responsible for carrying the weight of the world. Instead, you are free to experience life as it comes, trusting that every moment, whether joyful or difficult, is part of a larger purpose. Releasing control also deepens your relationship with God. It shifts your focus from what you can do to what He can do through you. It fosters a posture of humility and surrender, reminding you that your strength is found not in your own efforts but in His power. This intimacy with God grows as you continually place your trust in Him, leaning on His promises and seeking His guidance. It is in this place of surrender that you experience His presence most profoundly, feeling His peace and assurance even in the midst of uncertainty. Releasing control is an act of love. It is saying, God, I trust you more than I trust myself. I believe in your goodness, your faithfulness, and your power to lead me through every season of life. It is acknowledging that while you may not see the whole picture, you are part of a divine masterpiece created by a loving hand. When you release control, you step into the freedom, peace, and joy that come from knowing that God is in control and that His plans for you are far greater than anything you could imagine. Visualizing victory is a profound and transformative practice that bridges the gap between faith and manifestation. It is the act of seeing yourself already triumphant, already living in the fulfillment of your desires, and already walking in the reality of your breakthrough. This isn't wishful thinking, it's a spiritual discipline rooted in the belief that what you focus on becomes your reality. To visualize the victory is to plant seeds of faith in the soil of your imagination, allowing them to grow and manifest into your lived experience. It is an act of declaring, through thought and intention, that the promises of God are already yours. Your mind is a powerful tool, capable of shaping your reality in ways you may not fully understand. When you visualize victory, you activate the power of your imagination, which is the creative force through which God works in you. Imagination is not mere fantasy, it is the faculty that enables you to conceive of a life beyond your current circumstances. It is the blueprint for your future, the map that guides you from where you are to where you want to be. By consistently visualizing the victory, you align your thoughts with your desires, creating a mental and spiritual pathway for their realization. Victory begins in the mind. Before it manifests in the physical world, it must first be conceived in your thoughts. When you visualize, you are not just imagining success, you are stepping into the feeling of already having achieved it. You see yourself as victorious, free, and abundant. You allow your mind to dwell on the end result rather than the obstacles. This is crucial because what you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, they grow in your perception. If you focus on victory, you expand your awareness of opportunities, solutions, and divine guidance. So to visualize victory is to claim it as your own. It is to affirm that the battle is already won, even if the circumstances around you suggest otherwise. This requires faith, a belief that transcends what your physical senses can perceive. Faith enables you to see the unseen, to grasp the invisible truths that exist in the spiritual realm. When you visualize your victory, you are declaring it is done even before the evidence appears. This declaration aligns your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the reality you are calling forth. Visualization is not just about seeing, it's about feeling. It's not enough to picture your desired outcome, you must also immerse yourself in the emotions of having already achieved it. Feel the joy, peace, and gratitude of victory as if it has already come to pass. These emotions are powerful signals to the universe and to your subconscious mind, reinforcing your belief and drawing your desires closer to you. When you visualize with emotion, you create a resonance between your inner world and the outer reality you seek to manifest. One of the most transformative aspects of visualizing victory is the way it reshapes your mindset. As you repeatedly see yourself victorious, you begin to internalize the belief that you are capable, worthy, and destined for success. This shift in belief changes the way you approach challenges. You no longer see obstacles as insurmountable barriers, but as opportunities to grow, learn, and move closer to your goals. Your confidence increases, your resilience strengthens, and you become more attuned to the divine guidance that leads you to your victory. Visualization also helps you to stay focused. In a world filled with distractions and negativity, it is easy to lose sight of your goals. By consistently visualizing your victory, you keep your mind fixed on what truly matters. You train your thoughts to dwell on possibilities rather than limitations, on solutions rather than problems. This focus creates clarity, enabling you to make decisions and take actions that align with your desired outcome. It is a discipline that keeps you anchored in faith and purpose, even in the face of adversity. When you visualize victory, you also open yourself to divine inspiration. As you meditate on the vision of your desired outcome, new ideas, strategies, and opportunities begin to emerge. This is not coincidence, it is the result of aligning your thoughts with the divine will. Your mind becomes a vessel through which God's wisdom flows, guiding you step by step toward your breakthrough. Visualization is not passive, it is an active partnership with the Creator, a way of co-creating your reality in alignment with His purpose for your life. Consistency is key in visualization. It's not something you do once and forget, it's a daily practice that reinforces your faith and strengthens your resolve. Each time you visualize your victory, you are building a foundation of belief that becomes unshakable. This consistency also builds momentum, creating a ripple effect that influences every area of your life. As your thoughts align with victory, your words, actions, and attitudes follow suit, creating a powerful synergy that accelerates your progress. It's important to remember that visualization is not a substitute for action, it is the inspiration for it. Seeing the victory in your mind compels you to take steps toward making it a reality. It motivates you to persevere, even when the journey is difficult, because you have already seen the end result. This vision becomes your North Star, guiding you through challenges and reminding you why you started in the first place. It fuels your determination, strengthens your faith, and keeps you moving forward. Visualizing victory is an act of worship. It is a way of honoring God's promises and expressing your trust in His power to bring them to pass. It is declaring that you believe in His goodness, His faithfulness, and His ability to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you ask or think. By visualizing your victory, you are not just imagining a better future, you are stepping into the reality of God's promises, living as though they are already fulfilled. This act of faith not only transforms your circumstances but also deepens your relationship with the one who holds your victory in His hands. Taking inspired action is the natural extension of faith and visualization. It is the bridge between belief and manifestation, where your trust in God's promises is expressed through deliberate and purposeful steps. Inspired action is not the same as mere busyness or activity. It flows from a place of inner alignment where your heart, mind, and spirit are attuned to divine guidance. This is the kind of action that carries the force of purpose, propels you toward your goals, and brings your desires into reality. It is deliberate, empowered, and anchored in the conviction that what you seek is already yours. The foundation of inspired action is clarity. When you have a clear vision of what you desire and believe wholeheartedly in its fulfillment, you begin to notice pathways and opportunities that may have been invisible before. Clarity allows you to discern between distractions and meaningful steps. It guides you to invest your time, energy, and resources in actions that are aligned with your purpose. This is not about striving in desperation, it's about moving with intention and faith, trusting that each step you take is guided by God's wisdom and leads you closer to your desired outcome. Inspired action begins with listening. To act in alignment with divine guidance, you must first be open to receiving it. This requires a quieting of the mind, a willingness to be still, and a readiness to hear the whisper of God's voice. Inspiration often comes as a gentle nudge, a sudden insight, or a persistent idea that resonates deeply within you. It may not always make logical sense at the time, but it carries a sense of peace and certainty. When you feel this divine prompting, trust it. Acting on these whispers is an act of obedience and faith that aligns you with God's will. Faith without works is dead. To take inspired action is to put your faith into motion. It is not enough to believe and visualize, you must also step out and do your part. Imagine a farmer praying for a bountiful harvest. While prayer and faith are essential, the farmer must still plant seeds, water them, and tend to the soil. Similarly, inspired action is your way of planting seeds in the garden of your dreams. Each step you take is an investment in your future, a declaration that you trust God to bring the increase. Courage is often required when taking inspired action. The steps you feel led to take may challenge you to move out of your comfort zone, face fears, or risk failure. This is where faith becomes tangible. Trusting in God's promises means trusting that He has equipped you with everything you need to succeed. It means believing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth and every setback is a setup for a greater blessing. Courage allows you to take the first step, even when the path ahead is unclear, knowing that God will illuminate the way as you move forward. Consistency is another crucial aspect of inspired action. Manifestation is not an overnight process, it requires persistence and dedication. Consistency demonstrates your commitment to the vision you've been given. It shows that you are serious about partnering with God to bring it to pass. Even small, seemingly insignificant actions can have a profound impact when performed consistently over time. Think of these actions as drops of water that eventually fill the bucket. Every step, no matter how small, contributes to the manifestation of your desires. Inspired action also requires a mindset of flexibility and surrender. While it is important to have a plan, you must remain open to divine redirection. Sometimes the path to your goal may not unfold as you expect. Trust that God's ways are higher than yours, and that His plans are always for your good. When things don't go as planned, don't be discouraged. Instead, seek His guidance and adjust your course as needed. Flexibility allows you to stay aligned with His purpose while remaining steadfast in your pursuit of your vision. It's important to remember that inspired action is not about forcing outcomes. You don't need to make things happen through sheer effort or willpower. Instead, focus on aligning your actions with your beliefs and trusting that God is working behind the scenes. This is a cooperative process. As you take steps forward, God meets you where you are, opening doors, providing resources, and orchestrating circumstances in your favor. Trust in His timing and let go of the need to control every detail. Gratitude is a powerful force that enhances inspired action. When you act from a place of gratitude, you acknowledge the blessings you already have and express trust in the blessings yet to come. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from fear to faith. It infuses your actions with joy and purpose, making the journey as fulfilling as the destination. As you take inspired steps, give thanks for every opportunity, every lesson, and every moment of progress. Taking inspired action is an act of co-creation. You are not alone in this process. As you move forward in faith, you are partnering with the Creator of the universe. This partnership is a divine dance, where your steps are guided by His wisdom, your efforts are multiplied by His power, and your vision is brought to life through His grace. By taking inspired action, you honor this partnership and demonstrate your trust in His infinite ability to bring your dreams to fruition. Every step you take in alignment with your vision brings you closer to its manifestation. Each action, no matter how small, is a declaration of faith and an investment in the life you are creating. Trust the process, stay aligned with divine guidance, and keep moving forward with confidence and purpose. In doing so, you will not only achieve your goals but also deepen your relationship with God, growing in faith, wisdom, and gratitude along the way. Praising through the storm is an act of defiance against despair and a declaration of unwavering faith. It is the decision to look beyond the chaos of your circumstances and lift your voice in gratitude and trust, knowing that God is greater than any storm you may face. This act of praise is not dependent on the absence of challenges, but is a conscious choice to honor God's sovereignty even in the midst of them. When the winds of adversity blow and the waves threaten to overwhelm, praise becomes your anchor, grounding you in the certainty of God's love and power. Storms in life are inevitable. They come in the form of trials, disappointments, losses, and setbacks. These storms often seem to strike without warning, leaving you feeling vulnerable and uncertain. In such moments, the temptation is to focus on the storm, to be consumed by the fear, pain, and confusion it brings. But focusing on the storm only magnifies its power over you. The more you dwell on your problems, the more overwhelming they seem. Praise shifts your focus from the problem to the problem solver, from the storm to the one who calms it. Praising God in the storm is not about pretending the storm isn't real. It is about acknowledging its presence while refusing to let it define you or dictate your response. Praise is a bold proclamation of faith that says, yes, the storm is here, but my God is with me. Yes, the waves are high, but my God is higher. Yes, the winds are strong, but my God is stronger. This perspective transforms your experience of the storm. Instead of being a victim of your circumstances, you become a victor through your faith. When you praise God in the storm, you invite His presence into your situation. The Bible teaches that God inhabits the praises of His people. This means that when you lift your voice in praise, you create an environment where His power and peace can dwell. In His presence there is fullness of joy, even in the midst of trials. There is strength to endure, hope to carry on, and the assurance that you are not alone. Praise becomes a channel through which God's grace flows, sustaining you through the storm and empowering you to overcome it. Praise is an act of spiritual warfare. When you choose to praise God despite your circumstances, you resist the enemy's attempts to fill your heart with doubt, fear, and discouragement. The enemy wants you to believe that the storm will consume you, that you are powerless, and that God has abandoned you. But praise silences these lies. It declares the truth of God's faithfulness, His love, and His ability to work all things together for your good. Every word of praise is a weapon against the forces of darkness, a reminder that the battle is not yours but God's. Praising through the storm requires faith. It is easy to praise God when everything is going well, but it takes faith to praise Him when the outcome is uncertain. This kind of praise is rooted in trust, not in circumstances. It is the faith that knows God is working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. It is the faith that believes His promises are true, even when your reality seems to contradict them. It is the faith that rests in His character, knowing that He is good, loving, and faithful no matter what. Praise shifts your perspective from the temporal to the eternal. Storms are temporary, they come and go. But God's love and promises are eternal. When you praise Him, you remind yourself of this truth. You lift your eyes above the storm and fix them on the one who holds your future. This eternal perspective gives you the strength to endure, the courage to persevere, and the hope to believe that better days are ahead. It reminds you that the storm is not the end of your story, but a chapter in a greater narrative of redemption and victory. One of the most powerful aspects of praising through the storm is its ability to bring peace. Praise quiets the noise of the storm and calms the turmoil within. It shifts your focus from what is wrong to what is right, from what is lacking to what is abundant. It fills your heart with gratitude, which is the antidote to anxiety and despair. Gratitude reminds you of God's past faithfulness, giving you confidence in His present and future provision. When you praise, you release your worries to God and receive His peace in return. Praising God in the storm is a testimony to others. It shows the world that your faith is not dependent on circumstances, but on the unchanging character of God. It demonstrates the power of hope, the resilience of faith, and the strength of a life anchored in God. Your praise in the storm can inspire others to trust Him in their own trials, creating a ripple effect of faith and encouragement. It is a witness to the truth that God is worthy of praise, not just because of what He does, but because of who He is. Praising through the storm prepares the way for your breakthrough. It is an act of surrender that says, God, I trust You. I don't know how or when You will bring me through this, but I know You will. This surrender opens the door for God to move in your situation in ways you cannot imagine. Praise declares your victory before it manifests, aligning your heart and spirit with the outcome you are believing for. It sets the stage for God's power to be revealed, turning your storm into a testimony of His greatness. No matter how fierce the storm, remember that God is with you. He is your refuge and strength, your ever-present help in times of trouble. Lift your voice in praise, not because the storm has ended, but because you know the one who holds it in His hands. Trust that He is working all things for your good, even in the midst of the storm. Praise Him for His faithfulness, His power, and His love. As you do, you will find peace, strength, and the assurance that the storm will pass and His promises will prevail. In life, challenges and storms are inevitable, but through faith, perspective, and intentional action, you can rise above any problem. Recognize that God's power is infinite, greater than anything you could face. Shift your perspective to see beyond your struggles and anchor yourself in unwavering faith. Speak life over your situation, releasing the need to control and trusting that the victory is already won. Visualize your triumph, take inspired action, and praise God even in the darkest moments, knowing His light will always break through. Remember, every trial is an opportunity to grow, to trust, and to strengthen your connection with the divine. God is bigger than your problems, and with Him all things are possible. Let these principles guide you, transforming not just how you face your struggles, but how you live your life. Thank you for joining me on this journey of faith and empowerment. May you walk forward with confidence, peace, and the unshakable knowledge that you are never alone. God's love and strength are always with you. Stay blessed, and may your life be a testimony of His greatness. Thank you. In a world where connections, love, and validation often seem just out of reach, many of us fall into the trap of chasing after what we desire. We beg for attention, write heartfelt messages, make endless calls, and pursue relationships or opportunities that slip further away the harder we try. But what if the very act of chasing is what's keeping those things from coming to us? What if the answer isn't in doing more, but in doing less? This is not about giving up, it's about reclaiming your power. It's about recognizing that true value, love, and success come when you align with the energy of what you want rather than exhausting yourself chasing it. Today we're diving deep into the art of attraction through self-assurance. This isn't just theory, it's a transformation. We're discussing why you should never beg, chase, write, or call for what you desire, and how to let things flow naturally into your life. Prepare to rethink everything you've been taught about pursuing what you want. By the end of this, you'll understand why stepping back might be the most powerful move you can make. Have you ever noticed how the harder you run after something, the faster it seems to slip through your fingers? Whether it's love, success, or even a dream opportunity, the energy of desperation pushes it further away. Why? Because desperation speaks of lack, and lack never attracts abundance. Imagine for a moment a butterfly. If you chase it wildly, it flutters further and further out of your grasp. But when you sit still, calm and grounded, it might just land gently on your shoulder. That butterfly is everything you've been chasing: peace, love, opportunity, and fulfillment. And the truth is, you don't need to run after it. But here's the suspenseful part: what happens when you stop chasing, stop calling, and stop begging? Will everything fall apart? Will you lose what you desire most? Or will you discover the power you've had all along, the power to attract rather than pursue? You see, in life, the more we seek validation or chase after people and things, the more we signal to the universe that we're incomplete. We affirm that we don't have enough, and the universe responds in kind. But when we stand firm in our worth, when we act as though what we desire is already ours, something miraculous happens. Today we'll explore the profound shift that happens when you step into your own energy. Why should you let go of the compulsion to chase? How can you align yourself with the flow of what you truly desire? And most importantly, how can you reclaim your power by simply letting go of the need to beg, chase, write, or call? Stay with me as we unpack this life-changing perspective. Because once you understand this principle, you'll never approach relationships, opportunities, or desires the same way again. When you chase something, be it a person, an opportunity, or even a dream, you are, perhaps unknowingly, broadcasting a message to the universe: I don't have this. I need this. I am incomplete without this. This energy of lack doesn't inspire, attract, or manifest. Instead, it repels. Why? Because the energy of lack is rooted in fear, insecurity, and desperation. These are the vibrations that push away the very things you desire. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and shouting, I need you to love me. What does the reflection do? It doesn't embrace you, it doesn't respond with affection. It simply reflects back the energy you give it. This is life. The universe acts as that mirror, amplifying what you project. When you act out of neediness or desperation, it reflects that same energy right back to you. Chasing is an admission of doubt. It's telling yourself and the world that you don't believe you are enough on your own. But here's the truth: you are enough. Your worth isn't determined by the things or people you run after. It is intrinsic. Chasing turns you into a beggar for what you should be a ruler of. Now let's consider this. If what you desire was truly yours, would you chase it? Would a queen chase her crown, or a king beg for his throne? No. They walk with the quiet confidence that what belongs to them will find its way to them. And this isn't arrogance, it's alignment. Chasing also weakens your power. Every time you run after something, you are diverting your energy outward instead of inward. This energy, when directed inward, can build resilience, self-worth, and magnetism. When you chase, you scatter your energy, exhausting yourself in the process. But when you hold steady and focus on your own growth, you radiate an undeniable strength that draws everything you need directly to you. It's not about sitting idle or doing nothing. It's about understanding that your power doesn't lie in the pursuit. It lies in your presence. When you stop chasing, you reclaim your dignity and your voice. You declare to the universe, I am whole, I am worthy, and I trust what's mine will come. Think of the most successful, confident people you know. Do they chase or do they attract? Their energy is grounded in knowing, not needing. And that's where you must anchor yourself to. Stop running after life. Let life run to you. The truth is simple: you attract what you are, not what you want. If your energy is chaotic, desperate, or needy, you will draw in chaos, rejection, and resistance. But when your energy is calm, confident, and self-assured, the universe has no choice but to match that frequency. Energy is the language of the unseen. It's the force that moves people, circumstances, and opportunities toward or away from you. Think about it: when someone enters a room full of self-assurance, they don't need to shout, beg, or draw attention to themselves. Their energy speaks louder than words. People are naturally drawn to them because confidence is magnetic. Now let's apply this to your desires. If you are constantly emitting energy that screams, I'm not enough, I don't have what I need, or please pick me, the world responds in kind. It says, you're right, you're not enough. But the moment you step into the energy of abundance, acting as though you already possess what you seek, you become unstoppable. This is not pretense or pretending. It's embodying the reality of your desires before they materialize. You don't wait for the world to validate your worth, you decide your worth, and the world aligns. It's the shift from being a seeker to being a receiver. Here's an analogy: imagine you're a radio. To hear a specific station, you must tune into its frequency. You can't demand the station changes to suit your current setting. The same applies to life. To attract love, success, or opportunity, you must vibrate at their frequency. You must become the energy of what you want. Energy is subtle but unmistakable. If your energy exudes confidence, self-love, and security, others feel it. They may not consciously understand it, but they will respond to it. Opportunities will find their way to you, and people will be drawn to your authenticity. This is why the energy of chasing fails. It carries the vibration of not enough. Shifting your energy doesn't mean you ignore your desires. It means you stop needing them to feel whole. When you radiate completeness, the universe responds with abundance. You attract not because you lack, but because you overflow. Remember, everything is energy. Money, love, success, these are just forms of energy. When you align with their frequency, you don't chase them, they flow to you. So step into the energy of abundance. Be the person who already has what they desire, and watch how the world transforms around you. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all. Silence is not weakness, it is strength. It is the space where clarity is born, where dignity resides, and where the greatest transformations take place. Silence is your way of saying, I don't need to convince, beg, or chase. I know my worth and I stand firm in it. When you stop explaining yourself, stop pleading for someone's attention, and stop chasing after what seems elusive, you create a vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum. That silence you hold is a magnet. It draws attention, respect, and opportunities in ways words never could. Think about this. Why do people often regret losing someone who walked away quietly with no drama, no explanations? It's because silence demands reflection. It forces others to confront their own actions without the distraction of your words. When you stay silent, you leave no room for arguments or excuses. You create an undeniable presence that lingers long after you're gone. Silence also communicates strength. It tells the world that you are in control of your emotions, that you are not ruled by impulsive reactions. People are drawn to those who can remain composed under pressure. When you don't react, you maintain power. You let others wonder, question, and most importantly, respect you. Now consider this: how often do we ruin opportunities or relationships by saying too much? By over-explaining, over-apologizing, or over-justifying ourselves. Silence eliminates this risk. It allows you to communicate not from a place of fear, but from a place of confidence. Silence is also a form of detachment. When you stop chasing and start trusting the flow of life, you don't need to fill every space with noise. Your silence becomes a testament to your faith in yourself and the universe. It says, I trust that what's meant for me will come, and I don't need to fight for it. Silence creates mystery, and mystery is magnetic. When you're not always accessible, not always explaining yourself, people become curious. They start wondering what's behind your calm demeanor, and that curiosity draws them closer. So don't underestimate the power of silence. It's not about shutting people out, it's about knowing when to stop giving away your power. Sometimes saying nothing is the loudest message of all. Trust. Such a simple word, yet often the hardest thing to embody. To trust the process means to let go of control, to believe that everything is unfolding as it should, even when it doesn't seem like it. It's about releasing the need to force outcomes, to chase, or to manipulate situations into what you think they should be. Trusting the process is the ultimate act of faith in yourself and in the universe. Think about planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, give it sunlight, and let nature take its course. Trusting the process works the same way. When you set your intention, done your part, and aligned yourself with the energy of what you want, your only job is to wait and believe. The universe, like nature, has its timing. But why is this so hard for us? Because we are wired to seek control. When things don't happen immediately, doubt creeps in. Fear takes over. We start chasing, calling, begging, anything to force the outcome. But this is counterproductive. The energy of forcing disrupts the natural flow of manifestation. It's like trying to speed up a flower's bloom by pulling on its petals. You only end up destroying it. Trusting the process doesn't mean doing nothing. It means taking inspired action, then stepping back. It's about finding balance between effort and surrender. You do your part, then release the outcome. This release isn't giving up. It's a declaration of faith. It's saying, I know this will come to me because I've aligned myself with it. When you trust the process, you free yourself from the burden of anxiety. You stop overthinking, stop obsessing, and stop chasing. Instead, you create space for the universe to work its magic. Trust transforms you from a pursuer into a receiver. And here's the paradox: when you truly trust, when you no longer need something to happen, that's often when it does. Why? Because trust aligns you with abundance, not lack. It sends a clear message to the universe: I am ready. I am patient. I know it's already mine. So release the grip of control. Trust that every delay has a purpose, every rejection is redirection, and every step is leading you to exactly where you're meant to be. Faith is not just believing in the unseen, it's acting as though it's already seen. Trust the process and watch how life unfolds in your favor. The way the world treats you is a reflection of how you treat yourself. If you don't value yourself, why should anyone else? Valuing yourself means recognizing your worth without seeking external validation. It means standing firm in your boundaries, your goals, and your self-respect. When you truly value yourself, begging, chasing, writing, or calling for approval becomes irrelevant. Imagine a precious gem sitting on a pedestal. Does the gem plead for attention? No, because its value is inherent. People recognize its worth without the gem doing anything. You are that gem. The moment you realize your worth, the dynamics around you begin to shift. You attract people and opportunities that align with your self-respect. When you don't value yourself, you subconsciously teach others to undervalue you as well. Every time you overextend, apologize excessively, or compromise your dignity to gain someone's attention, you send a message, I don't believe I'm enough. But when you value yourself, you radiate a different energy. You communicate without words that you deserve respect, kindness, and effort. Valuing yourself starts with how you speak to yourself. What's the tone of your internal dialogue? Do you criticize yourself endlessly or celebrate your strengths? Self-worth begins with self-talk. The moment you replace self-doubt with self-appreciation, the external world mirrors that back to you. Now, valuing yourself doesn't mean arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing that you are enough exactly as you are. It's about recognizing that your worth doesn't depend on external achievements or relationships. It's intrinsic. When you value yourself, you stop chasing things that deplete you. You stop trying to prove your worth to those who don't see it. You understand that rejection is not a reflection of your inadequacy, but a sign of misalignment. You choose to walk away from what doesn't serve you, not because you don't care, but because you care deeply about your own peace. Valuing yourself also means setting boundaries. It means saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that nourish you. It's not selfish, it's necessary. When you prioritize your well-being, you show the world that you take yourself seriously. And when you take yourself seriously, others have no choice but to follow suit. So stop waiting for others to validate your worth. Decide it for yourself. Once you value yourself fully, the need to chase, beg, or plead disappears. You become the magnet, and everything meant for you finds its way. Detachment is not about giving up on your desires. It's about releasing your grip on them. It's about understanding that your happiness, peace, and sense of self are not tied to any external person, outcome, or circumstance. Detachment is freedom from the exhausting cycle of chasing, forcing, and clinging. When you cling to something, whether it's a person, a job, or a dream, you suffocate it. Imagine holding a butterfly in your hand. If you grip it tightly, you'll crush it. But if you hold it loosely, it can rest on your palm and fly when it's ready. This is the essence of detachment. It's about holding space for what you desire without strangling it with neediness. Detachment is not indifference. It's not about saying, I don't care, it's about saying, I care, but I trust. It's the ability to want something while knowing you'll be okay without it. This doesn't diminish your desires, it strengthens your power to manifest them. Why? Because detachment shifts your energy from desperation to trust. When you detach, you stop giving power to external things. You reclaim your energy and direct it inward. You stop saying, I need this to feel complete, and start saying, I am complete as I am. This shift is profound. It liberates you from the fear of loss and opens you to the joy of possibility. Detachment also allows you to see clearly. When you're too attached, your judgment becomes clouded. You may hold on to something toxic out of fear of letting go. But detachment gives you perspective. It allows you to evaluate whether something is truly meant for you or if it's time to release it. The irony of detachment is that the moment you let go, you often receive. Why? Because attachment creates resistance. It sends a signal of lack and fear to the universe. But when you release that resistance, you create space for abundance to flow. Detachment is the ultimate act of faith. It's saying, I trust that what's meant for me will come, and I don't need to force it. Practicing detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care deeply, but without obsession. It means you pursue your goals, nurture your relationships, and live your life without tying your worth or happiness to any one thing. Detachment is not giving up, it's rising above. It's stepping into a state of being where you are no longer controlled by external circumstances. So let go of the need to control. Release the grip of fear. Trust the flow of life. When you detach, you set yourself free, and freedom is where true power resides. Confidence is the antidote to compulsion. Compulsion comes from fear of missing out, fear of rejection, fear of being forgotten. Confidence, on the other hand, comes from trust in your worth and faith in the process of life. When you operate from a place of confidence, you don't feel the need to beg, chase, write, or call. You know that what is meant for you will come to you. Confidence is not about arrogance or being loud, it's about being rooted. It's about walking into any situation knowing that you belong, not because someone else said so, but because you decided so. Confidence is the quiet power that says, I don't need to prove myself to anyone. My value speaks for itself. Think about how the most magnetic people carry themselves. They aren't the ones constantly seeking validation or approval. They aren't the ones over-apologizing or over-explaining. They move with purpose, speak with intention, and act from a place of assurance. That assurance is what draws others in. When you lack confidence, you give away your power. You let other people's opinions dictate your actions. You bend over backward to gain their approval, often at the expense of your own peace. But true confidence doesn't seek approval, it creates it. It doesn't chase after opportunities, it attracts them. Confidence is built through self-acknowledgement. Start by celebrating your wins, no matter how small. Each time you recognize your strengths, you reinforce your sense of self-worth. Confidence also grows through self-discipline. When you set goals and follow through, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. That self-trust becomes the foundation of your confidence. Compulsion, on the other hand, is chaotic. It stems from a lack of clarity and an abundance of fear. Compulsion is the frantic need to do something, to text them one more time, to call them just to make sure, to write and explain yourself again. But every compulsive action sends a message to the universe: I don't trust myself. I don't trust the process. I am desperate. Confidence allows you to step back. It lets you hold space for yourself instead of filling every void with unnecessary action. Confidence knows when to speak and when to stay silent. It knows that silence can often be more powerful than words. So choose confidence over compulsion. The next time you feel the urge to chase or force something, pause. Remind yourself that you are enough as you are. Let your confidence do the talking and watch how the world responds to your quiet power. Chasing is exhausting. It drains your energy, erodes your confidence, and places you in a position of lack. Chasing says, I need this to complete me, and that energy pushes what you want further away. But when you stop chasing and become a magnet instead, everything shifts. Becoming a magnet means aligning with your desires, not running after them. It means radiating such a strong sense of self-worth that what you seek naturally gravitates toward you. A magnet doesn't move, it pulls. It doesn't beg or plead, it attracts effortlessly. To become a magnet, you must first understand that your energy is your greatest asset. When you are grounded, confident, and in alignment with your desires, you emit a frequency that draws people and opportunities to you. This isn't magic, it's the law of resonance, like attracts like. Becoming a magnet starts with embodying the qualities you seek. If you desire love, radiate love. If you seek success, carry yourself as if you are already successful. This isn't about pretending, it's about stepping into the version of yourself that already has what you want. When you chase, you emit desperation. That desperation repels. It's like trying to grab water with your hands. The harder you grasp, the more it slips away. But when you become a magnet, you move into a state of trust. You understand that you don't need to force anything because what's meant for you will come to you. Being a magnet also requires boundaries. You don't let just anyone into your space. You don't settle for less than you deserve. Boundaries aren't walls, they are filters. They ensure that what enters your life aligns with your value. A magnet doesn't pull in everything, it attracts only what matches its energy. Patience is another key to magnetism. Magnets don't rush, they trust their pull. Similarly, when you're aligned with your desires, you don't need to chase after them frantically. You can wait with grace, knowing that the right opportunities are on their way. Gratitude amplifies your magnetism. When you appreciate what you already have, you signal to the universe that you're ready for more. Gratitude raises your vibration, making you a beacon for abundance. Stop chasing. Start attracting. Step into your power as a magnet and watch as the things you once ran after begin to find their way to you. Let the pull of your energy speak louder than any words or actions. In life, we often believe that effort, relentless, tireless effort, is the only path to getting what we want. But true power lies not in chasing or begging, but in trusting and becoming. When you stop writing, calling, chasing, or pleading, you shift from desperation to dignity, from scarcity to abundance. You reclaim your energy and stand rooted in your self-worth, knowing that what is meant for you will find you in its own time. Every key point we've discussed: letting go of desperation, trusting the process, valuing yourself, practicing detachment, cultivating confidence, and becoming a magnet, leads to one central truth: you are enough. The moment you internalize this truth, the need to prove yourself, chase others, or seek external validation vanishes. You realize that your energy is far too precious to waste on things or people that do not recognize your value. Closing this chapter of chasing is not an act of giving up, it's an act of rising higher. It's about choosing yourself over external approval. It's about walking away from what drains you and making space for what uplifts you. It's about trusting the flow of life, understanding that what is truly yours will never pass you by. So I urge you, don't beg, don't chase, don't write, don't call. Instead, stand in your power. Let your presence speak louder than any words ever could. Trust that the universe knows your heart and is working in your favor, even when you can't see it. As you move forward, remember this: life responds to your energy. Carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. Hold your head high and your standards higher. Let go of anything that doesn't serve you, and trust that by doing so, you are making room for something far greater. The choice is yours, and it starts now. Will you continue chasing, or will you rise to meet the life that is waiting for you? Thank you for listening, and remember, you are enough, just as you are.
Life often presents us with circumstances that seem immovable, challenges, setbacks, and realities that appear to dictate the limits of our success, happiness, or peace of mind. But what if I told you that the circumstances surrounding you have no real power over you unless you give it to them? What if the things you see as obstacles are merely reflections of what you believe to be true? Today, we're going to explore a profound truth: your circumstances are not your destiny. They are fleeting, ever-changing, and entirely malleable to the power of your mind. The moment you stop giving attention to what is and instead focus on what could be, everything begins to shift. So, if you've ever felt stuck, defeated, or held captive by your environment, stay with me. We're about to unravel how you can transcend any situation and create the life you truly desire. You're standing in a room with no doors, no windows, just four walls surrounding you. It feels inescapable. You might think, this is it, this is where I'm stuck. But then something strange happens. You close your eyes, and in your imagination you begin to see a door where there wasn't one before. You visualize a path leading you out of the room. When you open your eyes, something inside you knows deep down that the door exists, even if you can't see it yet. This is the power of perspective, the power of belief. Now, let me ask you this: are your current circumstances any different from that room? You might look at your bank account and think, This is it, or maybe your health, your relationships, or your career seems stagnant, like those four walls. But what if the walls were never real? What if the limitations you're experiencing are only there because you've accepted them as immovable? Here's the truth: most people miss circumstances only hold power if you give them attention. The moment you shift your focus from what is to what could be, those walls start to crumble. Let me take you deeper into this idea, because it's not just theory, it's a transformative practice. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll see how the reality you want is already within reach, waiting for you to claim it. Circumstances are like clouds passing through the sky, ever changing, fleeting, and powerless to remain unless you fix your gaze on them. The life you live today is not a life sentence, it is simply a snapshot of the beliefs you've held up to this moment. Every condition you face, no matter how overwhelming or oppressive, is temporary by its very nature. The challenge is not in changing the circumstances, it's in believing that they can change. Think about this: the most successful individuals, the most resilient people, did not achieve greatness because they were handed perfect conditions. They started where you are, with obstacles, setbacks, and so-called immovable barriers. What made the difference was their refusal to accept those conditions as permanent. The only thing permanent is your inner state, and when that state changes, the outer conditions must follow. Consider the seasons. Winter may seem endless, but spring always comes. It is not your job to fight the winter or resist its cold embrace. Your job is to prepare yourself for the inevitable arrival of spring. In the same way, the circumstances you face now, whether it's financial hardship, a broken relationship, or a stagnant career, are not your final chapter. They are the winter before your spring. Many people surrender to the illusion of permanence because they see only what is visible to their senses. But let me remind you, the visible world is nothing more than the byproduct of your inner world. What you see today is simply the manifestation of yesterday's thoughts and beliefs. If you allow yourself to believe that your current circumstances are fixed, you give them permission to linger. But the moment you truly decide that they are temporary, you set a new process in motion. Imagine a mountain climber standing at the base of a towering peak. The height may seem insurmountable, the path treacherous, but the climber knows this truth: the mountain is not eternal. With each step, the peak draws closer, the obstacles diminish, and the once unthinkable becomes inevitable. You too are that climber. Your circumstances are the mountain, and though they may appear formidable, they are no match for the power within you to rise above them. So, don't attach yourself to the difficulty of the present moment. Don't let temporary setbacks define your future. Circumstances are merely the backdrop of your life, they are not the script. And here's the secret: the pen to rewrite that script is already in your hand. All you need to do is stop fixating on what is and start focusing on what you want to create. Your circumstances are waiting for you to outgrow them. They're like an old pair of shoes that no longer fit. You don't mourn the loss of those shoes, you step into something new. In the same way, every difficulty you face today is an invitation to rise, to expand, and to step into a higher version of yourself. Never forget, the power to transcend your circumstances does not lie outside you, it lies within. Circumstances are temporary because you are eternal, and nothing external has the power to outlast the force of your will, your imagination, and your belief in what's possible. But what you focus on expands. This is not just a catchy phrase or a motivational mantra, it's a universal truth that governs your life. Your focus is the architect of your reality, the painter of your experience, the builder of your future. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and what you give energy to, you bring to life. Think of your mind as a magnifying glass. Whatever you point it at, you intensify. If you focus on problems, they grow larger and more consuming. If you focus on possibilities, they begin to take shape, opening doors where there were once walls. This is not wishful thinking, it is the law of cause and effect. Your thoughts, powered by focus, are the seeds you plant in the soil of reality. Whether you nurture weeds or flowers is entirely up to you. Here's the challenge: most people allow their focus to be hijacked by their circumstances. They wake up each day and immediately tune into their struggles, their fears, and their doubts. They replay the same narrative, reinforcing the very things they wish to escape. But you must understand this: focusing on your current circumstances is like staring at a wound and expecting it to heal. Healing begins when you shift your focus to health, to wholeness, to the vision of yourself free from pain. Think of a ship navigating through a storm. The captain doesn't fixate on the waves crashing against the hull. They keep their eyes on the horizon, the destination. Your life is no different. Focusing on the storm of your circumstances only keeps you trapped in its chaos. But the moment you fix your attention on the horizon, on the life you desire, you begin to steer your ship toward calmer waters. Here's a powerful exercise. Close your eyes and think of something you deeply desire. Visualize it as if it's already yours. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the fulfillment of having it. Now notice what happens to your energy, your mood, your state of mind. That shift is the power of focus. It's the spark that can ignite transformation. What you focus on is not just a mental activity, it's a signal you send to the universe, a declaration of what you're ready to receive. When you focus on abundance, you invite it into your life. When you focus on lack, you build a home for it to dwell. Choose wisely, because your focus is not just a reaction, it's a creation. Let me make this clear: it's not enough to casually wish for a better reality. You must focus on it with the intensity of a laser beam. You must train your mind to see only what you want, not what you fear. This takes discipline, yes, but it also brings freedom, the freedom to create a life that reflects your deepest desires instead of your temporary circumstances. Your focus is your superpower. It's the tool that shapes your world, transforms your challenges, and turns your dreams into reality. Master it, and you'll master your life. Imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. It is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Your circumstances may appear solid, immovable, and unchangeable, but they are nothing compared to the creative force of your imagination. The world you experience is not shaped by the external conditions you see, but by the images you hold within your mind. Let me ask you this: how often do you let your imagination run wild, but in the wrong direction? How often do you imagine worst-case scenarios, replay past failures, or anticipate obstacles? This misuse of imagination binds you to the very circumstances you wish to escape. But here's the truth: your imagination does not discriminate. It brings to life whatever you feed it, whether it's your deepest fears or your boldest dreams. Imagine standing in front of a blank canvas. What you paint on it becomes the reality you live in. If you keep painting the scenes of your current struggles, you will remain trapped in them. But if you dare to imagine yourself free, successful and fulfilled, you begin to create a masterpiece of transformation. Imagination is not a passive activity, it is an act of creation. When you visualize a new reality with clarity and conviction, you plant the seed for its manifestation. Think about the inventions, achievements, and breakthroughs that have shaped the world. None of them existed in the beginning. They were born in the imagination of someone who refused to accept their current circumstances. The light bulb, the airplane, even the idea of exploring space, these were impossible until someone imagined otherwise. And just as they transformed their reality, so can you. The key is to use your imagination intentionally. Don't let it wander aimlessly, replaying the conditions you want to escape. Instead, focus it like a laser on the life you desire. Close your eyes and see yourself living in abundance, joy, and freedom. Feel the emotions of having already achieved it. Your imagination is not a fantasy, it's a preview of what's possible. Here's something remarkable: your imagination has the power to override your current circumstances entirely. When you immerse yourself in the vision of your desired reality, your subconscious mind begins to accept it as true. And when your mind believes something to be true, the world around you will adjust to match that belief. The walls of limitation you once saw will crumble, revealing opportunities and pathways you never thought possible. Your imagination is infinite. No matter how difficult your circumstances may seem, they cannot withstand the limitless potential of your mind. Use your imagination not to escape reality, but to create a new one. The power to rise above your circumstances lies within you, waiting to be unleashed. Your emotional attachment to obstacles is what keeps them alive. When you react to a challenge with fear, frustration, or doubt, you feed it with your energy. You give it power over you. The moment you detach emotionally from your obstacles, you strip them of their strength and reclaim your power. Consider these emotions are like fuel. Whatever you direct them toward, you energize and sustain. If you pour your emotions into anger over a financial setback, you only deepen the experience of lack. If you focus your emotions on worry about a failing relationship, you reinforce the discord. But when you withdraw your emotional investment from these situations, they lose their grip on you. They no longer dominate your thoughts, actions, or life. Detachment does not mean indifference or apathy. It means refusing to let external conditions dictate your inner state. It's about maintaining your peace, your confidence, and your vision, regardless of what's happening around you. Think of a tree in the middle of a storm. The wind may howl, and the branches may sway, but the roots remain grounded, unshaken. Detachment is your root system, anchoring you in strength while the storms of life pass overhead. When you detach emotionally from obstacles, you open the door to solutions. Emotional entanglement clouds your judgment and narrows your perspective. It keeps you focused on the problem instead of the possibilities. But when you step back and look at the situation with clarity and calm, new pathways become visible. You start to see the challenge not as an insurmountable wall, but as a stepping stone toward growth. Here's the secret: obstacles are neutral. They have no inherent meaning until you assign one to them. When you approach them with frustration, they become barriers. When you approach them with detachment, they become opportunities. Imagine looking at a puzzle. If you focus on the frustration of not knowing where a piece fits, you remain stuck. But if you detach from the frustration and calmly examine the puzzle, the solution reveals itself. Detachment also frees you from the illusion of control. So often we try to force circumstances to change, only to exhaust ourselves in the process. But true power lies in releasing the need to control and trusting that the situation will resolve itself when you align your thoughts and actions with the desired outcome. Detachment is not about giving up, it's about letting go of the emotional weight that keeps you tethered to the problem. By detaching emotionally, you shift your focus from resistance to possibility. You reclaim the energy you once wasted on frustration and use it to fuel your vision of a better reality. Obstacles lose their hold on you because they no longer define your state of being. They are simply challenges to be met, not prisons to be endured. Detach and watch how quickly the obstacles dissolve. They cannot withstand the power of a calm, focused mind. Every time you dwell on your problems, you breathe life into them. Problems are like shadows, they have no substance of their own, but they seem real when you focus on them. The more attention you give them, the more imposing they appear. But the moment you withdraw your focus, they begin to shrink, revealing the light that was always present behind them. Here's the truth: problems are not inherently powerful. They derive their power from the energy you give them. When you talk about your problems, think about them incessantly, or complain about them to others, you amplify their presence in your life. It's as though you're watering weeds in your garden while expecting flowers to grow. Your life will flourish not when you obsess over what's wrong, but when you shift your attention to what's right and what's possible. Think of a fire burning in a forest. If you keep feeding it with wood, it will rage on, consuming everything in its path. But if you stop fueling it, it will eventually burn out. Your problems are the same. Feeding them with fear, doubt, and attention only keeps them alive. But when you starve them of energy, they lose their grip and fade away. Stopping this cycle requires a conscious decision to reclaim your focus. Every time you catch yourself dwelling on a problem, interrupt the pattern. Redirect your thoughts to a vision of the solution, the outcome you desire. This shift is not about ignoring reality, it's about refusing to let the problem define you. Problems are temporary, your power to overcome them is eternal. So take back your power. Problems do not control you unless you let them. They are nothing more than invitations for growth. challenges to sharpen your character, and stepping stones to the next level of your journey. Refuse to be consumed by them. The moment you stop giving power to your problems, you reclaim control over your life. How often have you hesitated, doubted yourself, or held back because of what others might think? External opinions can feel like chains, binding you to a version of yourself that is not true to who you are. But here's the liberating truth: no one's opinion has the power to define you unless you give it permission. The opinions of others are just that, opinions. They are shaped by their own beliefs, experiences, and limitations, not by your potential. Yet so many people allow these external judgments to dictate their choices, dampen their confidence, and stifle their dreams. If you live your life constantly seeking approval or avoiding criticism, you are surrendering your power to those who have no stake in your success. Imagine you're a bird in a cage, and the door is open. The only thing keeping you inside is the belief that the opinions of others are more important than your freedom. But the moment you realize that you are the one holding the key, you can step out and soar. Living for the approval of others is like chaining your wings to the ground. You were not meant to live small, you were meant to rise. The reality is, people will always have opinions. They will judge you whether you succeed or fail, whether you take risks or play it safe. Their opinions are not a reflection of your worth, they are a reflection of their own fears and insecurities. Recognizing this truth is the first step to breaking free from the influence of external voices. Consider this: every great innovator, leader, or trailblazer faced criticism and doubt from others. If they had let those opinions define them, the world would never have seen their genius. They succeeded because they chose to listen to the voice within rather than the noise around them. You have that same choice. You can either be molded by the opinions of others, or you can be guided by your inner vision. This doesn't mean you must shut out all feedback or dismiss others entirely. It means discerning which voices align with your purpose and which ones distract you from it. Constructive criticism can be valuable, but it's your inner guidance that must take precedence. Trust that voice above all else. When you detach from external opinions, you reclaim your authenticity. You no longer feel the need to conform or shrink yourself to fit someone else's expectations. You become free to live boldly, to take risks, and to pursue the life you truly desire. Opinions are fleeting, your truth is eternal. Hold on to that, and let it guide you toward the life you are meant to live. Gratitude is the antidote to every challenge you face. It has the power to transform your perspective, elevate your energy, and rewrite the story of your life. When you focus on gratitude, you shift your attention away from what is lacking and toward what is abundant. And here's the secret: whatever you focus on expands. Gratitude creates a ripple effect, attracting more of what you appreciate into your experience. Imagine you are holding a magnifying glass. Whatever you point it at becomes larger and clearer. If you direct it toward your problems, those problems will dominate your thoughts and grow in size. But if you point it toward the blessings in your life, no matter how small, they will begin to shine brighter, revealing the richness of your existence. This is the power of gratitude. It doesn't change your circumstances, it changes your perception. And that shift can alter your entire reality. Start small. Even in your darkest moments, there is always something to be grateful for. The breath in your lungs, the sun rising in the sky, the opportunity to start anew, these are gifts that many overlook. Gratitude doesn't require grand gestures or monumental achievements. It thrives in the simplicity of the present moment. When you cultivate an attitude of gratitude, you begin to see miracles in the mundane. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a practice. Take a moment every day to reflect on what you are thankful for. Write it down, speak it aloud, or simply feel it in your heart. The act of acknowledging your blessings shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. It reminds you that, no matter how challenging life may seem, there is always something working in your favor. Here's the remarkable part: gratitude not only changes your internal world, but also influences your external reality. When you approach life with a grateful heart, you emit a positive energy that attracts opportunities, relationships, and experiences aligned with that vibration. People are drawn to those who radiate gratitude because it is a sign of strength, contentment, and resilience. When you make gratitude a habit, your circumstances begin to lose their power over you. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, you celebrate what's right. Instead of feeling stuck, you feel empowered. Gratitude is the foundation of faith, the belief that even in the midst of challenges, there is a greater purpose unfolding. And when you hold on to that belief, you open the door for transformation. So, let gratitude be your guide. Focus on what you have, not what you lack. Celebrate the progress you've made, no matter how small. Embrace the blessings that surround you and watch how your life begins to shift in extraordinary ways. Gratitude is not just a practice, it's a superpower that can reshape your reality. Life is not meant to be a smooth, unbroken path. It's a journey filled with twists, turns, and hurdles designed to help you grow. Think about the strongest trees. They don't thrive in perfect weather. They grow in storms, bending but not breaking, their roots deepening with every gust of wind. Your challenges are the storms that strengthen your foundation. When you face a challenge, your initial reaction might be resistance or fear. But what if you could shift your perspective? Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Every challenge carries a lesson, a hidden gift waiting to be discovered. It may teach you resilience, patience, or the courage to step out of your comfort zone. These lessons are the stepping stones that elevate you to the next level of your journey. Think about the people you admire, the visionaries, the leaders, the pioneers. None of them achieved greatness without overcoming challenges. Their struggles were not roadblocks but stepping stones. The adversity they faced became the foundation of their success. You, too, have this potential. The challenges in your life are not the end of the story, they are the beginning of a new chapter. Here's the secret: challenges are a test of your faith and determination. They ask, how much do you want this, and are you willing to grow to achieve it? When you rise to meet these challenges, you prove to yourself and the world that you are stronger than any circumstance. And in that process, you uncover a version of yourself you never knew existed, one that is powerful, capable, and unstoppable. But how do you turn challenges into stepping stones? It starts with perspective. Instead of focusing on the difficulty, focus on the growth it brings. Instead of dwelling on the discomfort, embrace the opportunity it provides. Remember, diamonds are formed under pressure, and so are you. Every challenge you face is shaping you into the person you are meant to become. When you adopt this mindset, challenges lose their ability to intimidate you. They no longer feel like barriers but opportunities for transformation. You begin to see that every setback is a setup for a comeback, every failure a foundation for success. With this perspective, you can face any challenge with confidence, knowing that it is leading you to something greater. So the next time you encounter a challenge, don't see it as a dead end. See it as a stepping stone, a necessary part of your journey toward greatness. Embrace it, learn from it, and use it to propel yourself forward. Challenges are not here to stop you, they are here to strengthen you. As we bring this journey to a close, remember this: your circumstances are not the masters of your destiny. They are fleeting, ever-changing, and powerless against the strength of your mind and spirit. What truly defines your life is not what happens to you, but how you choose to respond. You are not here to merely survive the storm, you are here to rise above it, to rewrite the script, and to claim the life that is already yours. When you stop paying attention to your circumstances, you unlock a power within you that is limitless. The world may try to dictate your worth, but your true value lies in the vision you hold and the belief you cultivate. You are the creator of your reality, and every thought, every focus, and every action shapes the world you step into tomorrow. Challenges will come, but they are not here to defeat you. They are here to refine you, to mold you into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient version of yourself. Let gratitude guide you, let your vision inspire you, and let your unwavering faith in what is possible lead you. This is how you transcend your circumstances and step into the life you were born to live. So today, make a decision. Decide to reclaim your power, to stop giving life to your problems, and to rise above the opinions of others. Choose to see challenges as stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Focus on what you desire with unwavering conviction, and let gratitude fuel your journey. As you walk this path, remember that greatness is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about holding on to your vision, even when the evidence around you suggests otherwise. It's about trusting that your power to create is greater than any circumstance that seeks to define you. The time to act is now. Stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions. They may never come. But you don't need perfection, you only need belief. Step forward with the confidence that everything you need is already within you. Trust that the universe is conspiring in your favor, aligning every step to lead you toward your highest purpose. The moment you feel a desire within you, it is not a random occurrence or a fleeting thought. It is a signal, a whisper from the infinite, telling you that what you seek is not only possible but already exists. This desire is proof of its fulfillment. Think about this: could you desire something that was completely unattainable or non-existent in the grand scheme of creation? The answer is no, because every desire is born out of the potential for its realization. The universe operates with precision and intention. Nothing is ever placed in your heart by accident. If you desire love, abundance, success or peace, it is because these realities are already part of the infinite possibilities, waiting for you to claim them. Your desire is the first spark of creation, the beginning of a process that brings the unseen into the seen. It is not a wishful thought, but a divine nudge, an invitation to step into alignment with what is already yours. You see, the very act of wanting something is evidence that it is within your reach. Imagine a seed planted in fertile soil. The seed contains within it everything it needs to grow into a magnificent tree, but it must be nurtured, trusted, and allowed to unfold in its own time. Your desires are much the same. They are seeds of potential, containing within them the full blueprint of their realization. The fact that you can imagine something means that the universe has already prepared the way for its manifestation. But here is the crucial point: your role is not to question whether it is possible or to doubt your worthiness to receive it. Your role is to trust the process, to hold faith in the unseen, and to nurture your desire with belief and conviction. Doubt is the only thing that can delay the fulfillment of your desires. When you doubt, you separate yourself from the reality you wish to experience. You tell the universe that you are not ready, that you do not trust in its infinite power to deliver what you have asked for. Remember, your desires do not exist in isolation. They are part of a greater plan, woven into the fabric of the universe. What you desire desires you as well. The moment you begin to hold the belief that your desires are already fulfilled, you activate the creative forces of the universe to bring them into your reality. The world around you will begin to shift, aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities to support the manifestation of your dreams. This is why it is so important to trust your desires. They are not frivolous or selfish, they are your soul's way of guiding you toward your highest good. Every desire serves a purpose, even if you do not fully understand it in the moment. Trust that there is a divine order to everything, and that your desires are part of that order. Now, it is also essential to release the need to control how your desires will manifest. The how is not your concern. Your mind may try to calculate the steps, to figure out every detail, but this is not the path of faith. The universe works in ways that often defy logic, and the fulfillment of your desires may come in forms you could never have predicted. When you release the how, you make space for miracles to unfold. Focus instead on the feeling of having your desires fulfilled. Live in that state of being, as though everything you wish for is already here. This is not a game of pretending, it is a shift in consciousness. When you act as if your desires are already realized, you align yourself with the frequency of their fulfillment. The universe responds to this alignment by reflecting your inner state in your outer reality. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when the evidence of your senses seems to contradict the reality you are creating. In those moments, remind yourself of this truth: your desires are proof of their fulfillment. Hold steadfast to your vision, no matter what the external world shows you. The external world is merely a reflection of your past thoughts and beliefs. It has no power to dictate your future unless you allow it. Keep your focus on the reality you wish to create. See your desires not as something distant or unattainable, but as a certainty that is unfolding in perfect timing. Trust in the process, trust in the divine intelligence that governs all things, and trust in yourself. You are a co-creator with the universe, and your desires are the language through which you communicate your intentions. So the next time you feel a desire stirring within you, do not dismiss it or question whether it is possible. Embrace it fully, knowing that it is the first step in bringing something wonderful into your life. Hold it close, nurture it with faith, and allow it to grow. Your desires are not just wishes, they are promises, waiting to be fulfilled. Trust this truth and watch as the life you dream of becomes the life you live. Faith is the invisible force that connects the seen and the unseen, the known and the unknown, the desired and the manifested. It is the bridge that carries you from where you are to where you long to be. Without faith, even the most profound dreams remain distant, for it is faith that animates them and gives them life. Faith is not merely a belief in something greater, it is the unshakable knowing that what you desire is already yours, even before it appears in the physical realm. Imagine standing at the edge of a great chasm, looking toward the other side where all your desires exist. The gap may seem insurmountable, and doubt may whisper that you will never reach it, but faith is the bridge that spans this divide. It is not built from logic or visible proof, but from trust in the unseen. Faith does not demand evidence, it creates it. When you step onto this bridge, you are walking in alignment with a power far greater than yourself, a power that works tirelessly to bring your desires into form. Faith begins with a choice. It is not something you stumble upon or something you must wait for. It is an intentional act of the mind and heart. When you choose faith, you declare to the universe that you are willing to believe in what cannot yet be seen. You decide to trust that your desires are not only possible but inevitable. This choice shifts your energy, aligning you with the frequency of your fulfilled desire and opening the way for it to manifest. But faith is not passive. It is an active, living force that requires nurturing and practice. To walk in faith is to hold firm to your vision, even when the world around you suggests otherwise. It is to trust in the process, even when the path is unclear. Faith asks you to look beyond appearances and to see with the eyes of imagination. What you see in your mind's eye is just as real as what you see with your physical eyes, if not more so, for it is from the unseen that the seen is born. Faith also requires surrender. It is not about forcing outcomes or controlling the process. To have faith is to let go of the need to know every detail of how your desires will manifest. It is to release the grip of fear and trust in the divine intelligence that orchestrates all things. When you surrender, you make room for miracles to occur. You step aside and allow the universe to do its work in ways that often exceed your imagination. Doubt is the greatest obstacle to faith. It creeps in when the evidence of your senses contradicts the truth you hold in your heart. Doubt is the voice that says, "What if it doesn't happen?" or "What if I'm not worthy?" But faith counters with a louder truth. It is already done when doubt arises. It is not a sign that your faith is failing, it is an opportunity to strengthen it. Each time you choose faith over doubt, you reinforce the bridge, making it stronger and more stable. Faith is not about blind optimism or pretending that challenges do not exist. It acknowledges the difficulties but refuses to be defined by them. Faith looks at obstacles and sees opportunities, knowing that every setback is part of the journey toward fulfillment. It understands that delays are not denials but simply a rearranging of circumstances to bring about the best possible outcome. There is a profound power in unwavering faith. When you hold a vision of your desire with absolute certainty, the universe responds in kind. The energy you emit through your faith attracts people, circumstances, and opportunities that align with your vision. This is not magic, it is the natural law of creation. You are always manifesting, whether consciously or unconsciously, and faith is the key to manifesting deliberately. Faith also transforms you. It changes not only your circumstances but also your inner state. To live in faith is to live in peace, free from the anxiety of what if and the despair of if only. It is to walk with confidence, knowing that the good you seek is seeking you. Faith brings clarity, focus, and resilience, enabling you to navigate life's challenges with grace. As you practice faith, you begin to see its evidence everywhere. Small synchronicities, unexpected blessings, and moments of serendipity remind you that you are on the right path. These signs are not the foundation of your faith, but the fruits of it. They are the universe's way of affirming that your trust is not misplaced. So step onto the bridge of faith. Take each step with confidence, knowing that you are supported by a power greater than yourself. Do not hesitate or look back. Keep your eyes fixed on your vision and your heart aligned with its fulfillment. Faith is the bridge that carries you from desire to reality, from longing to having, from dreaming to living. It is the assurance that all things are possible and the invitation to believe in the extraordinary. Let faith guide you, and you will find that the life you seek is already yours. When you desire something, it's natural to wonder how it will come to pass. Your mind, conditioned to rely on logic and control, seeks to map out every detail of the journey. It asks questions, calculates possibilities, and tries to predict outcomes. But this approach can become a barrier, not a bridge to manifestation. The truth is, the how is not your responsibility. Your role is to desire, believe, and feel as though your desire is already fulfilled. The mechanics of its manifestation belong to the infinite intelligence of the universe. To detach from the how is to open the door to miracles. Detaching from the how is not about giving up or being passive. It is about releasing the need to control the specifics of the process while remaining active in your faith and aligned with your desire. It requires trust in the unseen, knowing that the universe is orchestrating events in ways that may be beyond your comprehension. Often, the path to your manifestation takes twists and turns you could never have predicted. By clinging to a specific how, you limit the infinite possibilities that could bring your desire to fruition. Consider the times in your life when things worked out in ways you could never have planned. Perhaps an unexpected opportunity arose, or a chance meeting led to a significant breakthrough. These moments are not coincidences, they are evidence of the universe's ability to arrange circumstances in your favor. When you detach from the how, you invite more of these moments into your life. Detaching from the how also frees you from unnecessary stress and anxiety. The constant need to figure everything out can drain your energy and rob you of joy. When you let go of this need, you create space for peace and clarity. You can focus on what truly matters, living in alignment with your desire and enjoying the present moment. Manifestation is not meant to be a struggle, it is meant to be a joyful and empowering process. The most powerful creators understand that their role is to define what they want and trust that the universe will handle the rest. They do not waste time worrying about the how, because they know that the how is always taken care of. They focus on embodying the state of their fulfilled desire, acting as if it is already theirs. This is the essence of detachment. Letting go of the how is an act of surrender, but surrender does not mean weakness. It is a profound expression of faith and confidence in the creative power of the universe. When you surrender the need to control, you step into a state of flow where things unfold with ease and grace. You become a magnet for your desires, attracting them effortlessly, because you are no longer blocking their path with resistance. So release your grip on the how, trust that the universe knows the perfect way to bring your desires to you. Focus on the end, not the means. Feel the joy, gratitude, and peace of having your desire fulfilled, and let that be your guide. When you detach from the how, you allow the magic of creation to unfold, and what you seek will find its way to you in ways more beautiful than you could have imagined. Creation begins not in the outer world, but in the realm of imagination. What you desire does not first appear in your reality, it begins as a feeling, an impression in the mind and heart. To feel it before you see it is the essence of manifestation. It is the act of aligning your inner state with the fulfillment of your desire, allowing the unseen to take form in the visible world. This is not wishful thinking, it is the natural law of creation. The outer world is merely a reflection of your inner state. Every experience you encounter, every condition you face, is a projection of what you have entertained within yourself. If you wait to feel happiness, abundance, or love until the evidence appears around you, you will wait endlessly. But when you choose to embody those feelings now, you activate the creative power that brings them into existence. Feeling it before you see it requires faith and imagination. It means living in the end, as if your desire is already fulfilled, even when your senses may argue otherwise. Your imagination is the workshop of creation, the place where you shape the unseen into form. To feel something deeply in your imagination is to bring it closer to reality, for the mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. This process begins with clarity. You must know what you desire and define it in detail. The clearer your vision, the more potent your feelings will be. When you know exactly what you want, you can summon the emotions associated with its fulfillment. Close your eyes and see yourself living your dream. Feel the joy, excitement, and gratitude as though it has already come to pass. Let these emotions fill every fiber of your being. Your emotions are the language of the universe. When you feel as if your desire is already yours, you emit a powerful signal that attracts corresponding circumstances. This is the principle of like attracting like. The frequency of your feelings aligns with the frequency of your desires, drawing them into your life. It is not enough to think about your desire, you must feel it with intensity and conviction. Many people struggle with this concept because they are conditioned to rely on their senses. They look at their current reality and conclude that their desires are distant or impossible. But the outer world is not fixed, it is malleable and ever-changing, shaped by the energy you project. Your current circumstances are simply the result of past thoughts and feelings. To create a new reality, you must generate new feelings that align with what you want to experience. To feel it before you see it requires practice and persistence. Begin by setting aside time each day to focus on your desire. Enter a state of relaxation, free from distractions, and let your imagination take over. Picture yourself living the life you desire, engaging all your senses. Hear the sounds, see the colors, and feel the textures. Most importantly, feel the emotions. The more vividly you can imagine and feel, the stronger your creative energy will be. Doubt and fear may arise, especially if your current reality contrasts sharply with your vision. But these emotions are not insurmountable. When they surface, acknowledge them without judgment and gently return your focus to your desired state. Remember, your feelings are more powerful than your circumstances. Even in the face of doubt, choose to feel as if your desire is already yours. It is also essential to maintain this state of feeling throughout your day. Do not leave your vision behind once your imagination session ends. Carry the emotions with you, letting them infuse your thoughts and actions. Act as if your desire is already fulfilled. This does not mean pretending or forcing, it means embodying the confidence and peace that come from knowing your desire is on its way. Feeling it before you see it is not just about manifesting specific desires, it is about transforming your entire way of being. When you live in alignment with your highest visions, you elevate your energy and attract experiences that match your new state. You become a creator of your reality, not a passive observer. Challenges may arise, but they are not obstacles, they are opportunities to deepen your faith and refine your focus. Each time you choose to feel your desire, instead of reacting to your circumstances, you strengthen your creative power. You train yourself to live from the inside out, shaping your reality through the force of your imagination and emotions. The beauty of this process is that it does not depend on external conditions. You do not need to wait for circumstances to improve or for opportunities to appear. You can begin right now, wherever you are. The moment you decide to feel it before you see it, you activate the forces of creation. So let go of the need to see evidence before you believe. Choose to feel as if your desire is already yours, and trust that the universe is responding to your energy. Live in the end, where your dream is already a reality, and let that feeling guide your thoughts, actions, and choices. When you master this principle, you will discover that what you seek has been seeking you all along. The world will rearrange itself to match your inner state, and you will see your desires unfold in ways that are often unexpected and always perfect. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. It is more than a polite gesture or a fleeting emotion. It is a magnetic state of being that draws blessings into your life. When you express gratitude, you are not merely acknowledging what you have, you are aligning yourself with the energy of abundance. This alignment opens the door for even greater manifestations, for the universe responds most profoundly to a grateful heart. To understand the power of gratitude, it is essential to recognize that the universe operates on the principle of vibration. Every thought, feeling, and belief emits a frequency, and the universe matches that frequency by delivering corresponding experiences. Gratitude vibrates at the frequency of abundance. When you feel grateful, you affirm that you are already blessed, and the universe, ever responsive, amplifies that energy by sending you more to be grateful for. Gratitude is not limited to the things you already possess, it is also a tool for manifesting your desires. When you express gratitude for something you have yet to see, you act as if it is already yours. This act of faith shifts your focus from lack to fulfillment and activates the creative forces of the universe. It is a powerful declaration that you trust the process of creation and that you believe in the unseen. In doing so, you create a vibrational match with your desire, hastening its arrival. The beauty of gratitude lies in its simplicity. You do not need to wait for extraordinary circumstances to practice it. The air you breathe, the warmth of the sun, the laughter of a friend, these small blessings are treasures waiting to be acknowledged. When you cultivate gratitude for the seemingly ordinary, you train yourself to see abundance everywhere. This shift in perspective not only enhances your current experience, but also prepares you to receive more. Gratitude also serves as a remedy for fear and doubt. When faced with challenges or setbacks, it is easy to fall into a state of worry or frustration. But gratitude has the power to transform these lower vibrations into higher ones. By focusing on what you are grateful for, even in the midst of difficulty, you redirect your energy toward positivity and possibility. This redirection creates space for solutions and opportunities to emerge. The universe cannot deliver blessings to a mind consumed by negativity, but a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. One of the most profound aspects of gratitude is its ability to anchor you in the present moment. Often we are so focused on what we lack or what we hope to achieve that we overlook the richness of the now. Gratitude shifts your attention from what is missing to what is present, allowing you to fully experience and appreciate the moment. This presence is a powerful state, for it is only in the now that you can create and receive. To deepen your practice of gratitude, make it a daily ritual. Begin each morning by listing 3 things you are grateful for. Let these be heartfelt acknowledgements, not mere routine. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel the emotion of gratitude wash over you. Allow it to expand, filling your heart and radiating outward. This simple practice sets the tone for your day, aligning you with the energy of abundance from the moment you wake. As you go about your day, look for opportunities to express gratitude. When someone helps you, say thank you with genuine appreciation. When you experience something beautiful, a sunset, a kind gesture, or a moment of peace, pause to acknowledge it. These small acts of gratitude accumulate, creating a ripple effect that transforms your energy and your life. Gratitude also thrives in reflection. At the end of the day, take a moment to review your experiences and identify the blessings they held. Even challenges can be viewed through the lens of gratitude, for they often bring growth, wisdom, or unexpected opportunities. By finding gratitude in every situation, you train yourself to see life as a gift, rich with possibility and meaning. The practice of gratitude is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending that everything is perfect. It is about choosing to focus on the good, no matter the circumstances. This choice is a declaration of trust in the benevolence of the universe. It says, I believe that life is working for me, not against me. I trust that every experience has value, and I am open to receiving its blessings. The universe, like a mirror, reflects back what you project. When you project gratitude, it reflects abundance. When you embody gratitude, you create a harmonious relationship with the universe, one based on trust, appreciation, and flow. This harmony allows blessings to flow to you with ease and grace, often in ways that surpass your expectations. Gratitude is the key to unlocking the fullness of life. It turns what you have into enough and more. It transforms denial into acceptance, chaos into order, and confusion into clarity. Gratitude makes sense of the past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. By practicing gratitude, you align yourself with the truth that life is inherently abundant and that you are a worthy recipient of its gifts. So let gratitude be your constant companion. In moments of joy, let it enhance your happiness. In moments of struggle, let it guide you back to peace. Trust that as you cultivate gratitude, the universe hears your silent song of appreciation and responds with a symphony of blessings. This is the law of life. The more you give thanks, the more you will have to be thankful for. Patience is often misunderstood. Many believe it is merely the act of waiting, a passive state of enduring time until something desired arrives. But true patience is not about waiting, it is about how you live in the time between your intention and its manifestation. It is an active, purposeful state of being filled with trust, alignment, and preparation for what you know is on its way. Patience begins with faith. When you set a desire into motion, whether through prayer, intention, or action, you must trust that the process is unfolding as it should. This trust is not blind or naive, it is rooted in the understanding that everything operates according to universal laws. You do not plant a seed and expect it to grow overnight. Instead, you nurture the soil, water it consistently, and trust that nature will do its part. Patience is no different. It is the confident knowing that your efforts, combined with divine timing, will bring forth the fruits of your desire. Impatience, on the other hand, stems from doubt. When you question whether your efforts are enough, whether your desire is possible, or whether the universe will deliver, you create resistance. This resistance slows the process, not because the universe withholds, but because your energy becomes scattered and uncertain. Impatience is a signal that you are focusing more on the absence of what you want than on its inevitable arrival. To embody true patience, you must shift your focus away from the clock and toward the feeling of already having received what you desire. Patience requires presence. It is about fully engaging with the now, even as you hold a vision for the future. Many people fall into the trap of living in the in-between state, where they are neither fully here nor fully there. They spend their days longing for the future, convinced that happiness lies in what is yet to come. But the truth is, life unfolds only in the present moment. When you cultivate patience, you learn to embrace where you are right now, knowing that this moment is a necessary part of the journey. Patience is also a form of preparation. It is not passive waiting but active readiness. While the timing of your desire's fulfillment may not be within your control, how you prepare for its arrival is entirely up to you. Ask yourself, are you ready to receive what you have asked for? Are there skills, habits, or perspectives you need to develop? Use the time between your intention and its manifestation to become the version of yourself that aligns with your desire. This alignment is what accelerates the process, for the universe responds most powerfully to those who are prepared to receive. Another key aspect of patience is surrender. To be patient is to let go of the need to control every detail of how and when your desire will come. It is about trusting that the universe knows the perfect way to deliver what you seek. This does not mean abandoning your goals or taking no action. Instead, it means releasing attachment to the outcome, allowing space for the unexpected and the miraculous. When you surrender, you open yourself to possibilities far greater than what you could have imagined. Patience also teaches resilience. The path to your desires is rarely a straight line. There may be detours, delays, or challenges that test your resolve. These moments are not setbacks, they are opportunities to grow and strengthen your faith. Each challenge asks you, do you truly believe in what you are seeking? Are you willing to remain steadfast? Even when the way is unclear, patience answers these questions with quiet confidence, knowing that every obstacle is part of the process. Gratitude is a powerful ally of patience. When you practice gratitude for what you have and what is coming, you shift your energy from lack to abundance. Gratitude affirms that you trust the unfolding of your journey, even if the destination is not yet visible. It reminds you that life is not just about achieving goals, but about experiencing the richness of each step along the way. By focusing on what is good and right in this moment, you amplify the energy of fulfillment and attract more of it into your life. Patience, at its core, is a demonstration of self-mastery. It is the ability to hold steady in the face of uncertainty, to remain focused on your vision without succumbing to doubt or fear. It is the recognition that everything unfolds in its own perfect time, and that rushing the process serves only to create frustration and disappointment. When you practice patience, you align yourself with the rhythm of the universe, allowing life to flow naturally and effortlessly. Patience is not about waiting, it is about becoming. It is about who you are as you journey toward your desires. Are you calm, trusting, and aligned, or are you restless, anxious, and resistant? The energy you bring to the process shapes the outcome. By cultivating patience, you not only make the journey more enjoyable, but also ensure that the destination is worth reaching. So let go of the idea that patience is a passive act of enduring time. Embrace it as an active state of trust, presence, and preparation. Know that every moment, no matter how long it feels, is working for you, not against you. And when the fulfillment of your desire finally arrives, you will see that it came at the perfect time, in the perfect way, for the perfect version of yourself. In conclusion, patience is not about waiting, but about embracing the process of becoming. It is a state of trust, presence, and readiness, where you align yourself with the rhythm of the universe. By cultivating patience, you not only allow your desires to manifest with ease, but also become the person who is worthy of those desires. Remember, the universe responds to your energy, and patience is the key to unlocking the abundance and blessings that are already on their way to you. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on this powerful truth. Your journey of patience and trust has already begun, and with each step, you move closer to the fulfillment of your dreams.